Oh, okay. There you go. Are you
Hello.
doing an introduction for the people?
Yes, we doing. I'll do an introduction for the people. I'll do a formal one, but we're just waiting for people to come on now. So good evening, everyone. Hey, good evening, happy Sunday, everybody. King, you not? What are you doing? Well, are you having something to drink or?
I'm just drinking some water right now.
Okay, you, Joseph.
I'm drinking the same thing as you, a good old nice ice cold Pepsi.
Oh, okay, good. Yes, because and you know what this acid reflux.
Even, but what I wanted to do was run out to Starbucks and get me a Frappuccino real quick, but I knew I wouldn't be back in time.
That would have been good too. A nice frappuccino or a nice iced latte.
A caramel Frappuccino, that's what I wanted to get.
And look what I got for my anniversary.
Let me see. All right.
Let me say this before we even start. Before we even say Melissa, let me say this before we even start. Thank you so much to everybody that has went on our Amazon wish list and sent us something for our anniversary. We really, really appreciate you guys.
Yes, we do. We really do.
I put a message on the community wall, but I don't know if you guys saw it, so I just wanted to get on here and say thank you. We really appreciate you.
Yes, we do. We really appreciate all the anniversary gifts, the well wishes. We thank you for the cash apps. Some of the beautiful things that you guys sent us. Oh my God, that jacket that somebody sent me yesterday, Joseph.
Betty Boop sent you the jacket.
That was beautiful. And we got today these. We got these today. I want to show them to everybody. These are the pants that we got because y'all, this is Pride season. So during Pride season, Joseph and I make a lot of appearances.
We have to host next month.
Stuff like that.
We have the interview next month, and those pants were part of what we wanted to wear for the interview because the jackets we wearing are black and white.
Yes. So, you know, we have to have something to wear. And, you know, for someone to think of us and send us things over the
So it wasn't, I don't want y'all to think we just put clothes in there to get clothes. The clothes were basically what we needed. The red and black pants were what we needed to host in 2 weeks. Yeah. And then the black and white pants are what we need to host next month.
Yes.
So those were the reasons why a lot of clothes was in there. Those crowns, those sneakers to match the outfits that we were going to wear.
Whiskey Blu.
Hey,
yes, sir.
I'm going to need you to put your Cash App up there.
Okay.
I'm going to need you to do that right now.
So he got to leave and come back.
How about I don't even know how to do it because I'm on my phone. And like I can't even put up my virtual background. I don't know why it's so difficult.
Yeah, you can't do virtual background.
You can't do virtual background on your phone.
But what we'll do is Joseph, we will make sure that we get the Cash App so we can put it in the description of this video because you guys, we need for you to support all of us. You know, Whiskey Blu has his own platform as well. Let me give me one moment and we can get started. Oh, and thank you to the person that sent us this. Oh my God, Joseph, I forgot all about this. They sent us this. It's like a tripod, and it's like a mini tripod. It has for your phone. It has a microphone. It has lighting. I mean, it has everything. So you know, anytime we're
and it comes in a carrying case.
It has a tripod. Where's the tripod at? This is the tripod. It has a little tripod. So anytime we're out and about and we want to, go live, we can just pull this out and we're ready.
We ain't got no reason to get ready now because we always gonna be ready.
No, we staying ready. We staying ready, child. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, let me just get started here. Okay, I'll be right
back. Thank you, Melissa. For mine or Tramel's, because he wear them press-on nails, and I go to the salon to get mine done. Tramel wear those press-on nails.
Don't do me, Joseph. Nah.
No, Melissa says she loved the nails.
Don't be jealous, Joseph. Don't be jealous. It's that he can't take me. He can't take me.
Well, I'm gonna go get my polished black.
Right. Right, Ken. Now you need to go get your nails done. But anybody, for those of you that want to know, I have started my own nail line. I'm in the process of designing a series of nails to wear. For men that don't want the nails, or they
Who
want
have back? Chanel, you got the TV on?
Huh?
You have the TV on? I hear music in the background. Somebody got something in the background.
I don't know.
Or maybe my volume up too loud.
It might be.
Can y'all hear us good? See, Monte said it is a background noise. Can y'all hear us good? See, Monte said it is a background noise. Yeah, now I'm echoing.
Well, we can't worry about it right now. It sounds good here. It sounds good here.
Okay.
It sounds good.
As long as it sounds good. Or you know what? Maybe the volume on your phone was up.
Y'all ready? You ready, Joe?
I'm ready.
Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Good evening to Monica's Views and News. Good evening to Mom Chat. Good evening to those that will watch the video. Good evening to you as well. Welcome to the first segment of the Kingz Council. For you, we have myself, His Majesty. You have His Majesty Joseph McCrae. You also have friend to the show and His Majesty Kenton Rogers, also known as Whiskey Blu. So we are here. We plan to be here every Sunday night to have an in-depth discussion with you guys about hot topics, things that are on our heads we want to talk about. And we're going to do it in an orderly fashion. So with that, start off by asking Joseph, what do you like about today? Joseph, what do you want to talk about today?
You said, what do I think about what?
I said, what do you want to talk about today?
Oh, because for some reason I can barely hear you. My bad. What I want to talk about tonight, because it's been in my spirit and in my soul since I saw it. And I'm going to give you what I think about it. And then I want you and Kenton to tell me, you and Whiskey Blu, to tell me what y'all think.
Okay.
So my issue is with what I want to talk about is this whole thing with hold on one second. I'm putting in headphones to see if I can hear better. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's much better for me. All
Can
right.
y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Somebody tried to call my phone and it knocks out my volume.
Oh.
So I'm going to have to log out and log back in.
That's fine.
No. Kenton, when they call your phone and it knocks out your volume, that little mic at the bottom of your screen, if you just tap that, well, he left. So I'm going to wait for him to come back and then I'm going to tell you what I want to talk about.
He'll come back.
Huh?
I said he's going to come back.
No, I know. Because he said. Yeah, this is better with the headphones in. But did you enjoy your anniversary weekend, babe?
Excuse me.
I said, did you enjoy your anniversary weekend?
Yes.
Good. Hold on.
My
Kenton
allergies
is back.
are trying to start acting up.
Kenton, next time, all you have to do is at the bottom of the screen where you see that mic button, where you see that little mic, when your phone rings, that mic automatically mutes you. Just tap it and it'll unmute you. That way you don't have to leave and come back.
All right, thank you very much.
Hey, everybody in the chat. Hey,
all right, you
Andrea.
ready?
Yeah, I waited till Whiskey Blu came back before I told y'all what I wanted to talk about.
Right.
So, like I said, it's been in my spirit since I saw it. Because, well, what I want to talk about, who I want to talk about is Billy Porter.
Okay.
Because Billy Porter, since the whole Pose thing and all of that, I applaud him for coming out, living in his truth. He seems like a happier person. He seems like a better person. But that outfit at the BET Awards was way too much. I think he's doing too much. But at the same time, I'm happy that he can live in his truth. But I think he's doing too much. Like, I think it's just a lot now. At first, the fashion was good because it was over the edge. It was very androgynous. It was very, I just think some things should stay on the runway. Because I saw that designer spring fall collection or fall winter collection, and all the shoulders was popped up like that. Everybody looked like they was going, huh? I just think he's doing too much. I just think that living in your truth don't require all this over the top stuff that he's been doing lately. Because after a certain amount of time, I feel it's just for attention. It's not even your aesthetic. It's not even what you want to do. It's just for attention. So what do you think about that, Whiskey Blu?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I will say I did not watch the award show, number one, because I don't really watch TV very much at all. However, when I did see the outfit, I did not like it, So I can say that about it. I don't really know a whole lot about Porter. I do know that he's come out and he seems to have been embraced, and of course I say kudos to him living in his truth. I have seen him in some outfits that I thought were much nicer than that particular one. I was not impressed by it at all. And as far as that's concerned, it's definitely not something that I would wear. It might make me look smaller than what I am if my shoulders were up like this as well.
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Oh, well, let me just say this. Okay. I remember when Billy Porter dress. Remember that? And I thought that was really great because I thought it was time for something like now it appears that he's looking like a spectacle, like he's a I did not like this outfit that he wore. Like it was very unattractive. Now don't get me wrong, I like the platform. I like the platform boots. Platform boots were nice, but that whole outfit with the shoulders up to here. Remember when we were kids, they had those dolls that you used to you had to pull the trigger and the arms would come out like this? One was eating. That's what it looked like.
A rock'em sock'em robot.
Yes, very that. And I was like, no. I only like the Billy fashion when they are fashionable. Yes, it was very that. Yes, very that. Joseph, mute your mic. I think that's what we have to do.
It's you.
There you go. Okay, there it stops. Okay, but you know, I like the Billy Porter when he's fashionable, meaning that he's wearing something that looks fashionable and tasteful. The outfit that he had on to me was just in bad taste. I really didn't appreciate it. I had no appreciation for it. It didn't give me no ah factor, no wow factor, no nothing. And I really think that whoever his stylist is really needs to think really hard about this. You know, and that's one of the reasons why they put Billy Porter in all of these outfits, because they want people to be shocked and amazed, and they want them to be in awe, you know, when they see him. And I really think that his stylist is really not thinking about him as a person, you know. And then another thing that was really odd, and that Joseph pointed out, is that he appeared as though he had breasts. And I don't know, is Billy Porter transitioning? Is he transitioning into you know, being a woman? What is going on with him? I mean, I've not heard anything in the blogs or seen anything in the blogs about him transitioning over to being a woman or anything like that. So I found that quite odd as well. But you know, that's really all I have to say about it. I really just did not appreciate the fashion that he had on at the BET Awards. They could have done a whole lot better with him. I think for his age and for who he is, there is a very classy way to dress him and him look presentable and him still give people that ah factor. If they chose to do that. But this outfit that they had on him, this at the BET Awards, that was just terrible. It was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah. So moving on, guys, we're gonna go to Kenton and see what Kenton has to talk about tonight.
All right. Well, I will definitely say, I hope y'all can hear me.
Oh, we can hear you very good.
Because someone tried to call my phone again and it knocked the volume out. And I did what you told me to do with the mic, but that didn't work. But so I hear you all very, very low, but I think I can work with it. You know, hopefully I can get my internet back up and working by next week and everything like that. But what I wanted to talk, huh?
We can hear you.
Okay, but I can't hear y'all. I'm kind of reading y'all lips.
Oh, okay.
But I wanted to talk about, I came on, because I don't watch the news a whole lot. I don't watch TV very much at all either. However, I was looking at the Associated Press, and there's an article that talks about R. Kelly remains on suicide watch for his own safety. And so I kind of pulled up that article, and it says that federal authorities are pushing back on R. Kelly's claims that he has been placed on suicide watch as a form of punishment last week after the judge sentenced him to 30 years behind bars for using his fame to sexually abuse young girls. So it talks about him being on suicide watch for his safety, but he pushes back and is saying that he's been placed on suicide watch as a form of punishment. But the U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn filed court papers last Saturday saying that the disgraced R&B superstar remains on suicide watch for his own safety following a psychological assessment.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to just kind of talk about that. Number one, even this trial and everything, it took so many years. The word has been out and people have been talking about what he had been doing and his proclivities for years. And it never, ever really was dealt with. He was allowed to just continue to go on with his life. And now I believe he's like 55 years old, and he's really been brought to trial to have to face what he had been going through as far as that's concerned. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there and see what you all had to say. I mean, when it comes to suicide, I definitely understand what it's like to have suicidal ideations. I'm not in his mind, so I don't know whether it's true that it's a form of punishment or whether it's actually true that they sense that there may be fear of him taking his life because maybe all of the pressure of having to deal with this at this particular time of his life. I don't actually know, but I thought it was just something interesting to kind of bring up and kind of talk about.
Well, this R. Kelly thing, oh my God, it is just so many things to unpack, with R. Kelly. I mean, to me, isn't it crazy how someone gets away with something and they feel like they're invincible enough to continue doing what they got away with? And this is the result of that. I hope that those out there that have gotten away with things understand and realize that when God gives you a second chance, you better take it. Okay? Because back in the early 2000s, he was brought up on charges for just about the very same thing, and he got away scot-free. And shout out to Steve Harvey, because Steve Harvey made a great point. He said, he could have stopped right there, but he continued. And we as fans of R. Kelly, let me just say this: me as a fan of R. Kelly, a once fan of him as a person. And I celebrated him as a person because he had just made so many milestones in the music industry. And of course, you guys know I'm from the music industry. Excuse me. I've met R. Kelly several times, and he seemed to be a very nice guy. But I remember after I saw this Surviving R. Kelly documentary on was it Lifetime? Was it on?
Yeah.
I felt so bad because I have nieces. I have great nieces in that age, that and I'm listening to these women tell these stories, these horrible stories about what he did to them, how he manipulated them, how he brainwashed them, how these other women that were living with him and they were still, siding with him, were living with him, and he was doing these things to these women. I started to think about my nieces and my great nieces, and I felt so bad because for many years after he got let go, I still continued to support him. I still continued to listen to his music. I still continued to celebrate him as an artist, and it was just I felt bad, Of course, now I really think that he's gotten everything that he deserves. I really do. I don't wish any ill will on him. Like, I don't wish for him to be hurt or anything like that while he's in jail. As a matter of fact, he was attacked by one of his prison mates about a year ago. He was attacked by a prison mate while he was in jail. And they had to put him in solitary. He's been in solitary for most of the time that he's been in there. because of the attack. You know, and I think the reason why they're putting him on suicide watch is because that's just a standard thing that they do. I mean, for Christ's sake, this man has never been in jail a day in his life. And now for your freedom to be taken away from you, what a thought that is, for you to know that you're going to be in jail until you're 85 years old. That's basically the rest of your life. I mean, of course, we as humans, we're living longer than we're living longer than being 85 years old. But you know, what kind of life is he going to have when he gets out? I mean, he has all these things to consider and think about when he gets out. Also, I wanted to point out that, you know, a lot of companies, record companies and labels are wanting to hire him right now because he is such a great writer. I'm trying to understand how that's going to go, because, you know, there's this campaign to mute R. Kelly. They don't want you they don't want you to listen to his music and stuff like that. And what are we as fans, or what are we as consumers of music going to do when it comes to R. Kelly's music? Because I'm telling you right now, it's not easy to not listen to his music. It's just not. His music has been embedded into our lives, you know. But then you have to think about these songs that he wrote, like the song "You Are Not Alone." He wrote that after he made this girl get an abortion. He had gotten her pregnant, and he called this doctor to his house, and he told the doctor to give her an abortion. You know, that's the song that Michael Jackson sang, "You Are Not Alone." He's collaborated with artists like Jennifer Hudson, Christina Aguilera.
But Jennifer and Lady Gaga removed the songs that he wrote for them off their albums.
Right, but
so even if you get the album now, you won't hear the song at all because they removed them.
Right, but what I'm saying is like the song that he did with Jennifer Hudson. That was a great song. Why do we have to trash that? Why do we have to throw it away? You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like, what do we as consumers of music, what do we as fans of R. Kelly do? You know, I went to a party one time last year. Remember a couple of years ago, we went to a party, and it was at my pastor's house, and my pastor's son was DJing, and he played an R. Kelly song, and the pastor went off. He was like, "Oh, no, you will not play that here. You know, you will not play that here." What do we do? What do we do as consumers? What do we do? Like, there's so many songs that I can name right now that I love of R. Kelly's that I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm very transparent, that I still listen to.
Right.
You know,
but I will say that as far as his music is concerned and his artistry, I think sometimes, well, me personally, I still think he is a genius when it comes to his artistry.
Yeah.
I still like his music, and even though he had his proclivities, you know, and hey, things that are done in the dark are eventually going. If they don't come out in the wash, it's going to come out in the rinse.
Exactly.
I do ask the question though, that there was rumor about all of this going on so long. What is it that took so long for them to actually bring him to a place and put him on trial so that justice could be served for the people that he did whatever he did to? You know what I'm saying?
They didn't have any other choice. They really didn't have any other choice. And, you know, this happened, y'all. This all happened. Him being in jail, him getting arrested. This all happened by chance and circumstance. Somebody that worked for the government just so happened to be watching the Surviving R. Kelly documentary and decided to go to their office and open up an investigation. But for that, we probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. We'd probably be sitting here talking about, well, you know, mute him because he, you know, and he'd probably be out doing the same thing, you know. But all this happened by circumstance. It happened by circumstance.
Right.
So, Joseph, what do you think? What do you think about all this?
I think that because, well, the one thing they're trying to do, even like they're trying to do it with Bill Cosby, you can't take away who they were. You can't take away what they've done. So at the end of the day, he will always be a musical genius. His music is always going to be there. Like Bill Cosby, the Cosby Show is always going to be there, whether you show it or not. He's always going to be Bill Cosby. And
Right.
I think that is this whole mute people and cancel people situation is like, come on now. If a person does something, then fine. But he's going to jail. Let him go to jail. Let him do his time. But that don't mean I gotta stop listening to step, side to side, move it back, move it right. Like I'm not gonna stop listening to the music
Right. I mean,
because there's songs that I really like. And if
right.
I stop listening to his music, that means I can't never listen to another Aaliyah song. I can't listen to Michael Jackson.
Right.
I can't listen to a bunch of people that he has collaborated with.
Right. He's
If
written.
they want to remove the songs off their albums, they have that right. Like Jennifer Hudson, like I said, I read an article. Jennifer Hudson and Lady Gaga removed the songs that he wrote for them off their albums, which is their right. You know, I can't be mad at them for that, for wanting to do that. But you're never going to erase R. Kelly. It's just what it is.
You know what I think? You know what I really think that he should do, R. Kelly personally, he should do? I really think that, you know, it would be a great gesture for him to say, okay, buy my music, 10% will go to me, right? And the other 90% will go to my family. Because y'all got to remember, this man got kids.
But when people try to cancel you, they don't care about none of that. They don't care about your family. They don't care about... But what I'm saying is people...
Because
I
that's
have to say... No, I have
think...
to say it the way I have to say it. Our people will let Uncle Fester sit at the table knowing that he molested 5 little girls in the room with him. Our people are not going to cancel R. Kelly. It may be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but the majority of our people, even when they saw that tape years ago, they made excuses why it wasn't him. They came up with every reason under the sun why it wasn't him. Our people don't have a problem with those type of things. Our people are not going to get... Now, if it came out that he was gay and doing it to little boys, he'd be canceled instantly. R. Kelly would be canceled instantly.
But a significant amount of people did cancel him.
But not as many people are still listening to his music and really don't give a fuck. Like even when he was in jail, when you hear his lawyer with that video we watched with his lawyer talking, you heard the person in the background. This is a travesty. He didn't do it. Blah 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 blah. Like you just sat in a whole court. Heard women testify. All these women, the show did him in because all the women had the same story. I think if the women had a different story, even when the FBI agent was watching, I think if the women it's one thing when 17 people come together and they all got a different story. But when 17 people come together that don't know each other and they all have the same story, you did it. You definitely did it. Because they all have the same story.
Well, that's not a question at this point in time.
No. But people are still saying
I know
that he didn't do it. Right. Or they're saying, well, where's the parents? Yes, some of them girls that you heard them stories, their parents need to be brought up on charges because they basically sold their daughters to him.
Right.
But as far as the suicide watch, what Kenton was talking about, they probably just put him on suicide watch because, like you said, Tremel, if I'm sitting in there thinking I'm getting out, and then I hear I got 30 years in jail, 30 years. I ain't getting out this bitch till I'm 85.
Yeah. I think it was just a standard thing that they do, you know.
I think they did it because they were scared he might decide, well, let me end this and get it over with. because some people would think that way. Like it's
Right.
easier for me to just take my life and be done with it, as opposed to sit in jail for 30 till I'm 85 years old. Cause that's a long time, child. 85. But like his lawyer said, they're gonna appeal it. Number one. So who knows what's gonna happen with that? But he still faces charges where in New York,
In other
because I
states.
think that was Chicago. So he still got to come to New York and face charges for what he did to girls in New York. So it could be the same thing all over again. And they,
I'm gonna put this out there. You know, why isn't he going to a nice? You know, and y'all, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Why is he not going to a nice prison? Like, you know, remember the actress last year. Her and her husband, they paid for their kids to go to college and so on and so forth, and they paid all these $1 million to get their kids.
See, because the difference is, if you do something federally, is when you go to a good prison. When you just commit a crime, you just go to prison.
Well, no, he's been on federal charges.
Right, but
federal charges.
Right, but he can't go to that prison unless they stick. And his lawyer is saying that what he did wasn't trafficking.
Well,
and it wasn't.
You know, it makes me fine because you know what's that other guy's name? That director. He's in Rikers Island.
Right.
So you know,
Weinstein.
Weinstein. He's in Rikers Island. So you know, who knows? I guess it depends on what type of crime it is.
Right.
Where you go. Like when you go to federal prison, I think you know you go to. I think because those facilities are minimum security facilities. So I doubt if you put them in a minimum security facility.
Where you get a TV, a cell phone,
right,
living like you home.
Right. Exactly. But you know, my prayers go out to R. Kelly. Yeah. Still, my prayers go out to him. It's sad. It's a sad situation when you have somebody that is so talented just being thrown away. And I especially feel bad for his family.
It's sad, but at the same time, how long did you think you could get away with what you was getting away with? And at some point, like, but see, that's just like with thieves. They keep going and going and going and going because they don't get caught. And then when they get caught, it's like, oh, I've been doing this for years. I never thought I would get caught.
Like he was sitting on top of the world, like, I got away with this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm invincible. They're not gonna touch me. They can't never touch me. They can't never do. They tried to prove it in court and they lost. They're gonna never get me. And they got him.
Right.
So can I ask you all a question? What do you all think about, like, I've again, I don't watch the news a whole lot, but what do you think about even some of the parents that do you think the parents should have any penalties? Not all of them, but I mean, because certain ones allegedly, you know, they allowed their daughters to get close to him like that, knowing that their children were underage. Do you think they should serve any kind of punishment for that as well?
I think that there should be some type of consequence, and here's the reason why. I'm not a parent at all, but I'm saying I'm standing in a parent's shoes, and I'm saying, okay, I have a daughter. It ain't no way in the world that my daughter is going to be going to stay tonight with I don't care who you are. It ain't no way in the world that my daughter, my son, but my daughter is going to be going to stay with a man. I don't care. And if he is, I'm going to be there. That's the type of parent I am. That's the type of parent I would be, that's because of all the things that are going on in this world, Whiskey. If you had a child, would you let that child out of your sight? You know what I'm saying? I don't see myself doing that. So for the parents, I think there should be some type of consequence. What type of consequence there should be, I really cannot say. Now, for the people that aided and abetted R. Kelly, I think that they should either get the same or punishment as him, or they should be punished just as much as he's being punished. These people that got these girls on the planes, that got them to his home. These people that, because there had to be some type of dynamic going on in order for all of this to function and take place all these years. He didn't do this by himself.
Right.
He didn't.
Well, remember in the show, Trumel, they said sometimes he would send the other girls that he was already holding to go recruit more girls.
Right.
So those girls, you know,
it was manipulation. It was manipulation.
What I'm saying is most girls, if another girl comes and say, you want to meet R. Kelly? And I'm going to say yes. So I'm going to go with her to go meet him. But the adults... I did see another article, and I should have read it, but I didn't, because had I known Whiskey was going to pose this as a question, I would have read it. Where his brother came out and said that he lied.
Yeah.
So whatever he said, either in that interview on the television show or whatever, he said he lied.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know what he said he lied about.
He lied because he was mad at his brother.
Right.
That's really it. And see, now it's too late for all of that. It's really too late for all that. All that you saying you lied and all that stuff, it ain't gonna get your brother out of jail. He's going to jail. He's going to jail. So.
It's just gonna be what it is.
Yeah, it's gonna be what it is. But do I think that the parents should have some type of repercussion for what has taken place? Listen, manipulation is never a good thing, but what do they say about the law? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. And it's not. It really, especially in this case. I mean, your daughters, their lives are ruined mentally. These girls, you have to think about what these girls are going to endure for the rest of their lives. What are they going to endure? How are they going to function? How are they going to have healthy relationships? If they have healthy relationships, if they have children, how are they going to function as human beings for what they have been through? This is brainwashing 101. Okay? I've been in this position before where I've been brainwashed. I've been manipulated by someone. And I know how that feels. I know how vulnerable being brainwashed or being taken advantage of or being manipulated can make you feel. It is a feeling like none other. You can't even explain. I think we're gonna do a show on it very soon. But like being manipulated is one of the worst feelings. After everything is said and done, I know it's one of the worst feelings. I felt so horrible. I felt so weak. It can make you feel so weak. I recovered, of course, from it, because I learned a lot from the manipulation. But there are those that just can't move on from it. There are those that, carry this with them for the rest of their lives. And they're like, everything that they do is associated with what was done to them. So
that's why they're going to need therapy. They are not going to be able to move on in life without therapy.
Therapy and some medication,
because they're going to probably be PTSD. I mean, because if you listen to, especially the ones that some of the things they said he was doing to them, those are the ones that really are going to need the therapy, because I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine. And then they were like 13, 14, 15. Like, I can't even imagine. But I think some of the parents should be held accountable, because like Melissa said, they didn't care. They was just getting money. And they just wanted the money because he was paying them off. He was paying them off, and they just wanted the money. And they need to be held accountable. Everybody that helped him do what he did needed to be accountable. The person that helped him get a fake ID for Aaliyah needs to be held accountable, because Aaliyah shouldn't have been able to even marry him, because they said that it was a preacher or somebody that helped him get a fake ID for Aaliyah so that he could marry her when he did. Her parents need to be held accountable for what they did, because they used him to make her a star. and then all of a sudden you know want to back out and say you didn't know this was going on. What do you mean you didn't know it was going on? You think I'm sending my 15-year-old daughter off to tour with some grown ass 33-year-old man, and I ain't sending somebody from my family as a chaperone, or somebody from my family can't come as a fuck hiring somebody because I don't know them. I'm sending my mother, my grandmother, somebody that know me, that know my child is going on that tour with y'all. We ain't hiring no stranger to watch her because we know how that go. Strangers will sit and say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna watch her 100%," and they don't pay no attention, child. Or you could pay them off real good. He could have paid them off real good and said, "Just go get lost," and they go get lost because they want the coin. Because at the end of the day, money talk, and people will do anything for a coin. They will, as long as it ain't. You think if I'm a chaperone and you come up to me and say, "Oh, I'm gonna give you $20,000. Here's $20,000. Just go have dinner." You think I ain't gonna walk off and go have dinner and take that $20,000? Then I'll come back and I'll find her dead in the room. I'm like, "Oh my God, I shouldn't have left." But at that point, it's too late.
Right.
At that point, it's too late. So I just think a lot of people dropped the ball, and a lot of people was just getting money, and they were becoming yes men and women. And once you become a yes man or woman, that's your job. Yes, yes, no, no, because they know the minute they say no, they getting fired, and another yes man is gonna come.
You know,
So
I
I
used
think
to be like that, and I don't understand how I was like that for so many years. I was a very passive person, most of my adult life, and I'm a passive person now. But I can't understand. Sometimes I look back on some of the things that have happened to me, and things that have happened as a result of me being passive, and I say, how could you have been that way? How could you have been that way? How could you have been so passive? You should have spoke up, and you should have said something about this or that or what have you. It's just so odd, and it's just so far-fetched to me for people that are passive like that. I just don't understand it. I don't get it.
But see, a lot of times, I know what you're saying, Tramel, but a lot of times it could be somebody who's not passive at all. But the money is what's talking to them. So they become a yes man or a yes woman. Like you could have somebody like me that ain't passive at all. That ain't got a passive bone in their body, but you giving me $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 here, there, thither, and far, and that's on top of me making $60,000 just being around you. You think I'm not gonna do what you tell me to do? You think I'm gonna put my job in jeopardy when you just throwing money at me and I'm making a bunch of money? Those people was getting paid off. They wasn't just yesing and knowing and not getting paid. They was getting paid. Money talks to people, and once the money gone, like what's her face? The one whose niece was in the video. What was her name? Sparkle.
Yeah.
Sparkle. See, he wasn't giving her no money, so she was the one
having it. Sparkle just was not having her niece. Sparkle.
But that's what I'm saying. But she's one of those. Everybody can't be bought. So don't get me wrong. Everybody cannot be bought. Everybody can't, but a lot of people can't. There's more people that can be bought than there's more that'll stand up and say, "I'm not doing this shit.
Right.
I don't care how much money you give me. I'm not doing this shit." Right. There's more people that'll say, "Give me the money and I'll shut the fuck up." Mm-hmm. But Sparkle, I think he never offered her money. He just thought that she was going to be okay with it because he was trying to make her a star. And when she wasn't okay with it, he didn't know what to do at that point. And then when her parents still kept letting the little girl come around, he didn't need to pay her. He didn't need to pay her nothing because her parents started letting her come around.
Well, see, Sparkle was that cousin with, I think that was her niece. She was that aunt that was like protective of her niece, and she was like, no. She was like, no. What are you doing here? She like on one occasion she was like, what are you doing here by yourself? And she's like, well, my father dropped me off. Her niece was like, well, my father dropped me off. And she was like, well, where's your father at? And she got on the phone and called the father, and the father told her, mind your MF business.
Right, because he got paid.
Right, because he was getting paid. And also he was working for R. Kelly. He was working as R. Kelly's drummer. And by the way, that girl, Sparkle's niece, was the one that did that song with her did the rap on Aaliyah's song called Aaliyah's in the House on her first album. That was her. And that was the only song that she had ever done, you know. But R. Kelly was supposed to be, quote unquote, turning her into this big mega rap star, you know. But
right.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's move along, and we're gonna change subjects. We're gonna talk about something else. I want to talk about Wendy Williams. We have to talk about.
I swear, if one of us didn't say that, I was about to say before this live ends, we're gonna talk about Wendy Williams. I swear.
We're going to talk about Wendy today. Now, as you guys know, Wendy has been in the news. She's been in the blog. She's been all over the place. She's been all over social media because her show just ended. Her final show was what, last week? They did
I believe last week.
And they retired her purple chair. And after that, so many things happened. The studio told her she had to come and pick up her things. Otherwise, they were going to throw them in the trash, which I thought was like crazy because anything that has her name attached to it, I don't care if her show is over with or not, it has value.
You should have went to the Smithsonian.
Because of who she is, it has value. Like that purple, they threw the purple chair in the garbage.
She got it. No, she went and got it.
No, she went and got it. She did go and get it, but she had to get it off the garbage.
You know how much they could have sold her wigs for?
Yes.
Because they was throwing out all her wigs and everything.
They put all her stuff in garbage bags and threw it out on the streets. Can you understand? Can you believe that? Number one, my feelings about Wendy Williams are very, very mixed because I used to be a very big fan of hers. You know that, Joseph. I used to be a very, very big fan of Wendy Williams until she made that racial slur about gay people. I did not appreciate that. I still don't appreciate it. And
it would have been a homophobic comment, not racial.
Yeah, it was a homophobic comment that she made, and I didn't appreciate it. I still don't appreciate it, and I've let it go a little bit, but I've not let it go. And I'm like, okay, well, karma is the bitch, Wendy. Now you ain't got no show. And you need to go somewhere. You need to go to the nearest doctor and take a water pill, honey. But, you know, that's not me. I don't want to end it like that because, you know, when Wendy Williams' show was on, I was on her show. I was a regular in her audience at one point in time. There was a time that I was a regular in her audience. She even gave me a nickname. She used to call me Cat Daddy. So I've had a love for her. I've always had a love for her. I've always thought that she was infectious. She was funny. She was just brilliant when it came to just speaking to the masses. I just always thought that she was just a great entertainer. But that homophobic slur, it just took it all away from me. It did. It took it all away from me. And I'm a forgiving person. I really am. I'm a forgiving person. But when you show me who you are, I'm like, okay, there you go. There you go. Oh, that's how you really feel. Because when she made that statement, do y'all remember when she made the statement about, do you remember, Kenton, when she made the statement about gay people?
I don't.
Okay, I'm going to set it up for you. Okay, she was doing her show one day, and there was a young man in the audience, and he was gay. And he says something about men wearing skirts or something, and she got upset. And she was like, why do y'all got to wear skirts? Why do y'all got to do this? Why y'all got to do this? Leave something for the women. And she was just like, she went on this rant about, you know, gay people always trying to be like women. And let me be clear about this to you. Those of you that are in the audience that don't know or understand the concepts of gay people. First of all of us don't want to be women. Let me be clear about that. All of us don't want to be women. Number one. Number two is no, none of us act like women. When we do this, and when we put our hands on our hips and we shake our head, that's not us acting like women. Women don't act like that. Women don't act like that. Women don't say Miss Thing and snap their fingers and do what women don't do that. So that is not us emulating women. That is just a part of our culture and what we do and how we speak to one another. Yes, we can be feminine. We have feminine ways and things of that nature, but not all of us want to be women. Yes, there are some that want to transition over to being men or transition over to being women, but not all of us want to be women. So when you see a flamboyant guy that wears lipstick or makeup or he just looks, he appears like, he has this femininity to him. Don't just think that he wants to be a woman, because a lot of us don't.
But I want to say a lot of things that, like for example, the nails. Nails were first invented for men to wear. Heels were for men that were short, so they could be tall enough. Wigs, George Washington wore a wig. Wigs were for men. Skirts were for men. Back in Greek days, men wore skirts and dresses and sandals. It's just as time went on, these things became staples for women. But technically, if you do your research, the majority of things that women do today that are acclimated to be for women were for men first. They had nothing to do with women. Nails were for men. Nails were for men. Wigs were for men. Heels were for men. Dresses, skirts were for men. Sandals were for men. Everything were for men. And then as time went down the line, things progressed to be known as these things are for women. Because men's, I
said, come on and say it.
Because if you do your research, you'll see everything that I'm telling you is true. All these things were designed for men first. Women never thought about wearing heels. Women wore wigs because men wore wigs. George Washington and them all had powdered wigs on. You see it in the books that they all had white powdered wigs. Men, the nails thing, go to Lips channel. Lips gave a whole spew because somebody was mad at him because he had his nails done, and he gave a whole lesson on how nails were first created for men. And you can Google these things and see for yourself. So a lot of times when women say, oh, we want to be women because we wear makeup and we doing this, men in Egyptian times wore makeup. So
yeah, they wore eyeliner like every day.
What I'm saying is what y'all are not y'all, but what women are considering things for them were all created for men first. Because remember, whether you like it or not, this was a man's world, period. And as you see, it's still a man's world because men are trying to tell you what to do with your own body. So everything that was created before it became a thing for a woman was a thing for a man. Right. So I get upset when women say, oh, you want to be a woman. Bitch, I used to tell them all the time, I don't want to be a woman. Why would I want to be a woman? Your man want me because I am a man, not because I'm a woman. He ain't cheating on you with another woman. He cheating on you with a man. So why would I want to be a woman? Because then I wouldn't be able to have your man. But that's when I was young and a hot mess. I wouldn't say that now because I'm older and I have a little bit more, couth about myself.
Right.
But when I was in my 20s and women, if you want to be a woman, why would I want to be a woman, honey? Your man want me as a man. He want all this.
Listen,
not what you got.
I had a conversation with girls, like girls have been around me and my friends and have pulled out their breasts and said, you want these. You want these. This is what you want. And be shaking them in our face and stuff like that. I'm like, girl, bye. Why would I want breasts? They hurt.
When they too big, I'm sure they do hurt.
Yeah. But, it's funny we talking about this. I got to tell you, Whiskey, I got to tell you a story that happened to me today. Lord have mercy. I'm going to
tell your story after we finish Wendy Williams.
Yeah, I'll tell the story after we finish. But anyway, what I want to say about Wendy is that it doesn't look very good for her right now. She did an interview with TMZ last week, And she went on to explain about, you know, what she wanted to do in the future. And she was talking about doing podcasting. Of course, she didn't even know what podcasting is. Not realizing that podcasting is the same thing as radio, which she comes from. I think if she does do a podcast, she'll do very well. There's been talks in the blogs about, you know, her getting $100 million deal to do podcasts. If she does get that, that's great. The bank is they have an executor over her money, which I really don't understand. I think that Wendy is afraid to admit that she really needs extensive therapy for what she has endured in these past 4 years. I mean, she went from being at the top of her game as a talk show host to finding out her husband was having a baby with his mistress, to getting divorced, to now losing her show. That has to be mentally crippling. It has to be, you know.
Yeah.
So what I think is, I think that she really needs to take some time to go and seek therapy, and just, you know, figure out how to function again. You know, and I'm saying this because I come from, and I know you can look at her, you can see the depression all over her face. I come from a place of depression. I have bipolar disorder. I come from a place of depression. I know what depression is. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like. I know how people can mask it, because I masked it for many, many years. But I tell you this, I'm testifying today. When I got therapy, it made me a better person. My therapist showed me how to manage myself, how to function, how to be okay with with being by myself, with loving myself. My therapist gave me the tools to deal with other people in certain situations and scenarios and things like that. My therapist gave me the tools to function and get over the things that I needed to get over. I didn't even know. My father was dead for 20 years and I was still grieving him, and I didn't even realize it. But when I started out therapy, and me and my therapist unpacked these things that I had endured as a child, and when I endured when my father passed away, when my nephew was killed, I was able to deal with these things. And I dealt with them on a mental level, and I did the work. And because I did the work, it made me who I am today. I ain't gonna tell y'all I'm still a little bit crazy. You fuck with me I'm crazy if you mess with me. But I can function. I'm a person that I can function, and I can deal with not only myself, but I can interact with others, and it be a positive thing. It not be something where I'm sitting home alone in my house and I'm in a corner and I'm crying about what my life has just turned into. I think that she really needs to go and seek therapy. What do you think, Henry?
Yeah. And like I said, I haven't followed personally a whole lot, but I have seen some of the stuff. And one of the things that I will say, just period, that we always have to be careful, you know, when we're take heed that we stand, you know, and because everything the carpet can be pulled from up under you, you know. And so the reality is that in this life, and even in the entertainment world and the celebrity world and everything like that, you know, when you can be doing good one day, and at some point everything can be taken away from you, and you have to be able to become and it's not necessarily easy when you have had people celebrating you, you know, when you were at the top of your game, and then to end up losing things. And like you say, I'm sure she's going through some mental health issues and dealing with some mental illness, but the truth of the matter is that she can be well again, and she can achieve and go back to a place. She may never be as big as she was, ever again.
Right.
And the other thing, when it comes to the way that people treat you, as long as they're making money and you're doing well, you will get one thing. But when they're done with you, they will do just that. Throw your shit out on the street, when they're no longer you're no longer beneficial to them.
That's the lesson in all this. That's the lesson for all of these celebrities and all of this, that you are replaceable. You're replaceable. Right. Period. Joseph.
So true.
I think that, and I know how this is going to sound when I say it, but karma's a bitch. No, I'm just saying, but karma is a bitch.
It is.
She sat and talked about all these people all these times, and I think because now her life unraveled on TV, she couldn't handle it. And then too, I know what it's like to lose your mother. That probably really sent her into a frenzy. She had to sit there and watch her husband unravel, and then losing your mother. That's a whole nother story. And for those of you that have never lost your mother, you will never understand what that feels like until, unfortunately, that time happens for you. But you really could lose it when that happens. And they said she didn't go to the funeral. She didn't show up. So she couldn't even handle her mother dying. Because for you not to go to your mother's funeral, that means you just couldn't handle it. You didn't want to see it. Because a lot of people like me, when I see it, it makes it real for me. If I don't see it, you could tell me somebody dead all day long. And I'm like, okay.
Right.
But for me to sit there and see them in that coffin makes it real to me.
Right.
So I think her mother dying, everything that played out with her husband, I think that all sent her on a downward spiral. And then I think she probably started doing drugs again to cope. I think that was her coping mechanism, because let's face facts, you automatically resort back to what you know as a coping mechanism when you can't handle situations. And I think that I know she's unraveled, because what she did on TMZ when she held her foot up and was like, you don't know what lymphedema is, look at this. And I'm like sitting there going, girl, you wouldn't even do that on your TV show. You wore sneakers and long dresses so we wouldn't have to see that. And now you on TMZ just holding your foot up to the camera, and it looked gray and it looked like elephant skin. And I'm not being shady. That's what it looked like, because her foot looked gray. She's my complexion. Her foot shouldn't look gray. Her toes were swollen. Her whole foot was swollen, but that's part of lymphedema. But I think that she's unraveled, and therapy is the only thing that's going to get her raveled back in. And reel back in. If she don't do it, she's just going to continue to unravel and unravel and unravel more and more and more and more. I feel bad for her. I do. But I also think this is karma biting her in the ass. Because you talked about everybody. You talked about everybody that was in your situation, people that were unraveling like you are right now, like she is. And she thought it was just a kiki, ha-ha, let me just put a spin on it.
She thought it was funny. I think she was just talking about it because it was something to talk about. I never saw her get a thrill out of.
No, but some of her personal opinions were like, all three of us are giving our personal opinion. Right. And we kind of doing it with empathy, even though, it is what it is, but we doing it with empathy. Wendy didn't have empathy for nobody. It was her, oh, well, you should do this, and if you don't do this, you're a fool, and you should do that, and you need to go to therapy, and maybe it'll help you. Like, it was just so raw and cold, and, she just was, I just view it as karma. Honestly, I view it as karma. I view it as karma coming to bite her in the ass, because you can't get away with what she was doing on the radio, what she started doing on TV. Like, karma is going to pay you a visit at some point.
That's
and
true.
when karma paid her a visit, she paid her a visit, honey. She paid her a severe visit.
It's like Melissa said karma has what she say? Karma forgets no address. That's on period. That's so true.
Right.
It really is. Listen, people, you have to be really aware and alert of the things that you do in life. You have to be very aware of the shoes that you wear and the walk that you walk. You want to walk through life treating people the way you want to be treated. You want to walk through life treating people with kindness. You want to walk through life with treating people with empathy and all those great and beautiful things. You don't want to be the villain or be the bad person. Who wants to be but there's some people that just set out to be that way just because they just want to be a shady bitch. But those people that do that, history has taught us that it comes back to bite them. Look at some of the people that have done some of the most horrific things in this world, like Hitler and Donald Trump.
How we just talked about R. Kelly.
And look at some of the things that these people have done. And it comes back on you. It always comes back on you. I don't understand why people don't get that. You're not perfect. You're not perfect. There's no such thing as the perfect crime. There's no such thing as committing the perfect bad situation. Because eventually it's gonna come back on you. It's gonna come back on you.
And I would suggest, if by any chance, if Wendy is watching this tonight, I would encourage her to take a break, to just chill. Leave the spotlight for a little bit. Don't say anything. Learn to spend some time with herself, by herself, getting to know herself. Because when you've had people around you, especially people that have kind of co-signed, a lot of the stuff that you've done, and now you have to kind of deal with going through what she's going through, just take some time. If you need to take a year or take 2 years, you've been in the spotlight for so long, sometimes you need to just really just digress and just, like you say, see a therapist to help her have some tools and spend some time alone with herself, getting to know herself and dealing with herself and peeling back the layers of the onion, and everything like that, and become good with herself.
Yeah.
And I just think there's something that a preacher told me years ago. He said it's something about going on a consecration of silence. Yeah. We talk about fasting from food and everything. Just sometimes just be silent, be quiet. Don't say anything. Learn to just shut your mouth, and just sit back and spend some time with this. And she can recover. I'm a witness that you can recover. Right. But you may have to take some time with yourself, by yourself. I live alone, and I live with not alone, because I live with my dog. But I don't have no human being that gets in the bed and sleep with me at night. Right. But you know what? I am so much more liberated and freer and happier that I don't get the concert dates no more. Although can I say something? I kind of feel my voice is going to come back, but it's been since 2019 that I haven't been able to go out and publicly sing, and people haven't even called. But I needed this time to deal with me, and I do believe that I'm going to experience what it is to be on the upside again. But I had to go through everything that I had to go through. And we have to learn sometimes to just trust the process and become good with the process. And, it has definitely been the best thing that could have ever happened to me.
Yeah.
So I just would say that to her. take some time with
I'm
yourself.
in agreement with you because everything that you're going through from 2019 till now, once your voice does come back and you back on top, you will appreciate it more now than you did before. Because see, before when things just come natural to you, not that you didn't appreciate it, but you just like, I can do that. It's no big deal. But when it's taken away and then you have to wait for it to come back, it becomes a whole nother story. Now you were singing before, but you're gonna be singing when you can sing again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And because now you're gonna put your heart and soul, not that you didn't before, but you really gonna put your heart and soul into what you're doing because you knew how long it took you to get back to that point. So sometimes people don't realize that your downfall is really your up climb. Because sometimes, and I'll tell you this all the time because it happened to me in 2016. God have to remove everything out of your life that you, and not that you didn't appreciate it, but you just had it and you just felt, well, it's mine. I got it. I don't need it. I can get more. And then once he removes that, and then you got to climb up that hill again. And it ain't a fast climb. It's a slow climb. By the time you get back to the top, you a whole different person than you was before because you know what that was about.
Yeah.
And I think, and I agree with you, if she take this time to work on her and fix her, and then she comes back, when she comes back, I think she'll be a better person. But the only person, and I'm going to be honest, the only person I feel sorry for in this whole ordeal is her son. Because I can't imagine watching my mother go through something like that from being who she was to now being this.
Therapy too.
Right.
He probably needs therapy too. But let me just say this, you hit on something, Ken, that was just like so on point. Like I remember when my mom stopped smoking cigarettes. I said, Mom, because I was like, Mom, how did you quit? How did you quit? She said, you know what? She said, I went to the pastor. She went to her pastor and told her pastor that she wanted to quit smoking. He told her, stop telling people. Just be silent. Stop. Don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody what you're doing. Just go on ahead and do it. And once you do it, my mother said, you know what? She said, when I decided I was going to do it, I wasn't worried about what people were going to, I wasn't worried about people saying, oh, Carolyn, don't, I thought you said you're going to stop smoking. She just did it. And she said, because she just did it and she didn't say anything, nobody really noticed that she had stopped smoking. And so not only did the urges go away, it was the people around her that didn't have anything to say about what she was doing that motivated her even more. And sometimes you do have to just say nothing. Like if I was Wendy's friend, I would say to her, you know what, Wendy, if I were you at this point, I would just say, stop caring. Not about you, but stop caring about everybody else and what everybody else got to say. And just go on ahead and take care of what you need to take care of for yourself. That's what I do. Whenever I get in a situation where, I've just been knocked down, to pick myself back up, I start caring about me and myself. Okay, what does Tramel need? What does Tramel want? What is the learning lesson out of all of this? What do we do about this? And then I take it from there. It's just like us as the TheMcRaeKingz when we went on our sabbatical. We've been on sabbatical since January, and we're back now. And throughout this whole time, we've been thinking about what is going to make us as a channel grow, what is going to make us as a brand grow. And so through talking and having conversations about certain things, we've taken things and we put them in perspective. Ergo, here we are, season 5. We don't know how things are going to go. We're very optimistic about it, but we plan to give you guys the best programming, the best of who we are from this day on, with the Kingz Council and, our first show that we did, when we met and things like that. And that's sometimes you have to do this. Sometimes you have to go back to the drawing board and you got to take that piece of paper that you done drew on, you got to ball it up and you got to start all over and start drawing again.
And we right in the place where we started.
That's what you have to do. You just have to reinvent yourself. You really do.
Right.
You really do. And especially if you're in media. We ain't even talking about social media. We talk about just media, period. Right. You have to reinvent yourself. Those people have to reinvent themselves every single day. Every day. They have to get on camera and they have to entertain and they have to say, okay, what is going to make these people stay engaged with me and the person that I am? It's not just your name. It's not just your name. So, yeah, this is what we're talking about. Say we got one bonus thing to talk about. I don't know. Whiskey Blu knows about what I'm about to talk about now. But we're going to talk about one other thing today. We're going to talk about Armand Wiggins. Do you know Armand Wiggins, Whiskey Blu?
What is that?
Armand Wiggins. Armand Wiggins is he's a YouTube personality, and he does what we do. And he we've been hearing a lot of different things about Armand wanting to do different things in social media. He usually does commentary on hot topics, things like that. And he's been like, I think Armand has over 100,000 subscribers. And, you know, people look to him to hear all that juicy news, you know, the tea and the hot topics and stuff like that. But now he want to do tarot readings. He done went to the studio and made a song, and he done got him a music video now. And he's doing all these other things. And people, I think, are starting to either disengage or starting to say, okay, what's going on here? Now, let me just ask you this. Since you don't know Armand, if you were a personality in social media and you had gained a following for what you do as a social media influencer, would you change the recipe? Would you change what you were doing if you were doing well at it? Would you change it?
Well, I think what happens is that sometimes when people build on one thing, if it's not their authentic self, you know, then sometimes they may end up making changes like that. Like I was even looking at, when I watched some of what was going on with the BET Awards that I caught on YouTube and everything, even with Brandy wanting to get into rap now. You know what I'm saying? And I think even for me as an artist at that period of time, I was always labeled a gospel artist, but I always had a desire to do R&B music, right. You know, but I was so young when I started singing gospel. What a lot of people don't know is that I sung at the Apollo when I was probably in my about 11, 12, 13, 14. And I came in and Ralph Cooper brought me on as a stand-in. I auditioned, but they didn't know if I was going to make it on the show that particular Wednesday. But I did make it on the show. Okay. And I did The Greatest Love of All. And I got like this standing ovation. And literally, I won that particular night, you know. And wow. They ended up wanting me to become a part of the record label and sing R&B music. But my mother, you know, was not supportive of that. My father would have been more open, but because of my love and connection to my mother, you know, I ended up doing gospel music and not doing R&B music. So all of my life, it's almost like I lived doing what I felt my mother, you know, would sanction, but I wasn't being my authentic self, you know. And so I guess in that case, there were many people that had things to say about me when I started delving into doing more R&B music and everything, but my following was a gospel music audience, you know. So I think sometimes if a person, I can't say what I would do now, but I think sometimes when we are not our authentic self, we may end up being somebody else. I heard Lauryn Hill said on an interview or on one of her, I think the Unplugged project that she did. She said, the real me is better than a fake me any day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in that particular case, he may have done himself a disservice by making the change, you know, but within himself, he may feel like he's more comfortable because he's being his more authentic self. So I really can't say, you know what I'm saying? I just know that for me, people had an issue with me singing R&B music, but watch this. I had friends in my life that were singers that had a problem with me doing R&B music and talked about me and said a whole lot of shit about me. But now those same people are now doing R&B music. You know what I'm saying? And even me being with the Williams Brothers label, you know, Blackberry, I shared with them early on what I wanted to do after my first or second album and everything. But I've even watched them make changes in the music that they've done where Melvin is doing stuff, more universal stuff, you know, and not necessarily just hard gospel stuff. So I think really it's about people being true to their authentic self, but you also have to know that when you change streams like that and you've built up a following, you got to be prepared to experience the loss of your followers as well.
You do. You do. You absolutely do. I mean, it's like Michael Jackson going from doing pop music to doing, you know, gospel. You know, where did that come from? You know, it's like, and that's why it's so important for you to be your authentic self from day one. Because when you are your authentic self from day one, that's what people know you as. You ain't got to change. You ain't got to put on no airs. You ain't got to put on no fronts. No, nothing like that. They know you as that. When you are one thing and then you come out as something else, that's where the confusion lies. And people are like, hold on, wait a minute. Because people know you, Kenton, as a gospel artist. And so for them to see you sing R&B music, it's like, okay, where'd that come from?
But guess what? You know what's funny about it though? What's funny to me about it is this, because people can be funny. You know, because do you know that my record company told me that I didn't even sell 5,000 units on my second project, is what they say. So all of these people that know me from singing gospel, that want to keep me pigeonholed in gospel, they didn't buy my gospel CDs. But watch this. But Snoop Dogg, who's a rapper, can turn around and do a gospel CD and get awards for it. You know what I'm saying? And go right back to, and the gospel people jumped on his album, did it with him, and the people, church people bought his project more than they bought mine.
Yeah.
So people,
look at what Beyonce is doing.
They want to support.
Yeah, look at what Beyonce is doing. House music right now. House music. Who would have ever thought that Beyonce would do a house music track? But she is doing a house music track and it is like blowing up. Drake, he did a whole house music album and it's blowing up. You know what I'm saying? And you're right. It's like these popular artists can go and they can do these different things. Look at what Mary did. Mary went from doing gospel music to doing practically R&B. You know? Sometimes it depends on who you are. It depends on where you are in your career. You know, you have to know when to make the right moves.
Right.
If you
when you have money behind you, you can practically do what you want. It's about marketing. Listen, if I had $1 million today and just put it all into marketing Whiskey Blu, folks would forget all about Kenton Rogers, you know, and they jump on Whiskey Blu. You know what I'm saying? So it really is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here, and you and I, we've been friends since children. We've been friends since we were kids. It's hard for me to call you Whiskey Blue. you know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to call you.
Right.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any type of way, but I've always known you as Kenton. You know, so.
But I'll answer to both of them. You know, that's one thing about me. Although, you know, really Whiskey Blue is Kenton Rogers, but Whiskey Blue is the liberated person that I never was before.
Right.
Because I was never as so open to talk about my sexuality as I am today. And so I'm, even as a preacher, you know, I actually had a ministry that was open and affirming before open and affirming churches were really popular.
I remember.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it is what it is. You know, call me Ken, call me Whiskey Blue. So sometimes I just say Whiskey Blue, aka Kenton Rogers and everything like that. But guess what? I'm about to make a comeback because there's about to be Whiskey Blue Towers. I'm about to have some real estate. There's about to be Whiskey Blue Performing Arts and Empowerment Center. You know, so I'm doing other things now.
Right.
It's not even so important to me if I'm in front of the scenes no more. You know, because the real money isn't in front. The real money is behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm doing better now financially, doing what I'm doing behind the scenes, you know, than what I ever did before in front of the scenes. But it's going to be, watch what's going to happen. The same preachers that stop inviting me to preach at their churches, the same people that stopped inviting me to come sing, are about to be coming back to me. There will be a point, it could be a year, 2, 3, 4 from now, but there's going to be a point where they're not going to give a damn about all the stuff that they gave a damn about before. You know why? Because of the money that I have.
Right.
When you got money, people don't care about a lot of the things they care about when you're not in that particular place. So I'm prepared, you know. I'm just spending time with myself, enjoying myself. And guess what? Now that I'm at this place where I'm so open where I am, I get hit up by so many people that are interested in me on a romantic level. But they're not willing to support what I'm doing. So watch this. I have over 4,000 followers on Facebook, but I have 37 subscribers on my YouTube page. Ain't that funny?
Listen, it be like that. That's how we started out, right? We started out
for whatever reason they're scared to leave Facebook and come over to YouTube.
Yeah, when we had so many people following us on Facebook. We had like 5,000 people on our TheMcRaeKingz page. And then when we came over to YouTube, we could not beg people because it was a change. That's what it was. It was a change. And see, when you change, like we were like, okay, y'all want to see us? Y'all got to come on YouTube and see us. And people was like, I don't care. We don't care. We're going to watch you on YouTube. I mean, on Facebook. If you come on Facebook, we'll watch you. If you're on YouTube, we might come over there and subscribe to you. So it took us a long time to gain that type of momentum.
And I tell them all the time, don't feel slighted when they make comments on Facebook, but then they see us answering all the YouTube people because we don't really see all the comments that come from Facebook. So it's like I go back and I answer them, but I'm like, if you don't want to feel slighted, come watch us on YouTube because that's where we can see all your comments and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
But Tramel, to your question about Armand, I think he's tired of stuff like that because I watched Armand from his beginnings on Facebook, and those little stories that used to pop up that you didn't know if it was true or not, he would actually contact the people involved and he would go live and he would have them on his show. He's been doing like hot topics for years and years and years and years and years. So with him doing Hot Topics for years, I think he just got tired of it. Well, he is tired of it, and he wants to try something new. Now, I don't know about him in this tarot reading, because I don't know how good he is at it. I've never watched one of his tarot reading shows. I don't know about none of his tarot reading shows because, you know, it is what it is. But he's very good at. He's made some good connections, like with Cardi B and Nene, and these people actually contact him when he talks about them on his show. So why he would want to change now? Maybe you got to just be tired of doing what you're doing, or like you said, Whiskey Blue. It's not his authentic. It's not his authentic self. It's not what he wants to do authentically. So, you know, he just.
My
I don't
thing is,
know.
is the time? See, everything has to do with time. Is it the time for him to do this? Is it time for him to change his platform into this? Or should he continue doing what he's doing? Or should he continue doing what he's doing and then try to ease what, the other new thing that he wants to do into his platform? Because, my Armand is, I'm a big fan of his. I in some ways strive to be like him. I would hate for him to start losing subscribers simply because he's decided, well, I'm not going to do Hot Topics anymore. I'm just going to do tarot readings. That's all I'm going to do.
But he went live. But according to him, he was doing what we did. He went on hiatus. Mm-hmm. So according to him, he's not stopping his Hot Topics. He just went on a hiatus from them for a minute.
Yeah.
And he said, like us, that July 1st, he was coming back. And he did. He went live on July 1st with his Hot Topic is about, I believe it was Cardi B's party that she gave, that he was in. Well, Jason Lee gave Cardi B a party.
Yeah.
And he was invited and he went live and talked about that. So I think maybe he just went on hiatus and people decided he was done because he started doing the tarot channel. I don't know. I just think sometimes you get tired of doing what you do. And sometimes you just need a change. And if that change don't work, you could always go back to doing what you was doing.
Go back to what you were doing. Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. Yes. So with all that being said,
can I say this? He will, whatever the situation is, he will have to be the one to deal with the rewards or the consequences.
Exactly.
Right.
That's it.
Because there are rewards and consequences to whatever our decisions are. And I personally have had some rewards because of my changes, but I've also suffered some consequences as well. And I had to take responsibility for everything because I'm the one that made the decision.
But as an entertainer, as a social media influencer, you know that there is a pro and a con. There is a risk, to what you do, to everything you do. Like Joseph and I, like right now, we go to a lot of these pride events and things like that. And we say, okay, what are we going to do to promote ourselves? And Joseph's like, okay, we can get cards, we can get bags, we can get t-shirts, we can do this, we can do that, we can do this, we can do that. But there's always a risk to it, because what if we decide that we want to sell t-shirts and we buy 500 t-shirts and we don't sell one? So it's a risk to everything, especially in social media. So you always have to do what I always say do. And people, when you do this, I'm telling you, it always works out for me. I can only testify for me. But when you walk out on faith and you say, and you really say, and not just say, I'm going to walk out on faith. When you actually walk out on faith and say, this is what I'm going to do, and you do it, it always works out. Always works out.
Yeah.
Yep. So, guys, this has been the Kingz Council for this evening. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Joseph, do you have anything else to say? Any last words?
No. Any last words? I mean, in all of this, in all the conversations that we had tonight, it was just two things that always stuck out: be your authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
and be true to yourself. And that's just what it is in a nutshell.
Yeah. You, Kenton?
I just want to say, first of all, to you guys, to the Kings, the McCraeKingz, thank you for allowing me to even be a part of this. You know, it has been wonderful and it's been exciting, and I appreciate it. And to the people, I just want to say to them, self care is so important, and self care must be a priority in our lives. And I say that to Wendy, you know, I say that to the other brother you were just talking about. Self care is so important.
Yeah, it is. And you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Kenton, you just don't know how I appreciate you being with us, and I'm so excited about
Tramel, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Tessie Jones said, tell your story that you started to tell Kenton about what happened today.
Oh, I'm going to tell that story. I'll tell that story. But before I tell that story, I want to say this. Thank you so much, Kenton. Guys, Kenton he's going to be a permanent fixture here at the Kingz Council. So guys, get used to seeing Kenton. For those of you that do not know him, he goes by the name of Whiskey Blu. You can see him on all social media platforms. All of his information will be in the description of this video and every video that we do with the Kingz Council. So guys, just make note of that. Kenton is a wonderful, beautiful person. Oh my gosh. And he has so much to say. And guys, you got to go out and you got to listen to some of his music. You can find him on iTunes, right?
Yeah.
You can find him on iTunes. We will get some of his information. We'll get his information to where you can find his music at. And when I tell you Kenton has a voice like an angel, that's an understatement. It really is. It's an understatement. Him and I, we've known each other since we were children. I actually sang my first solo with Kenton when I was a kid. It was called Heaven Belongs to You. Yep.
And you could always catch Kenton when he's live on Facebook every Wednesday at 8:00.
Yes, most definitely. Yes. And
he does his love, sex, and everything else.
Yes. I love it. Oh my God. We did it.
We was on it.
We did a segment with him. With the love, sex, and things and things of that nature. And guys, our podcast is coming back, so Kenton will definitely be joining us on our podcast, most definitely. And guys, y'all stay tuned for the Kingz Council because we have a whole lot to cover. But before we go, I'm going to tell y'all this story about what happened to me today. It was so funny and it was so cute. And it just goes to show how the world is changing. I want y'all to understand that the world is changing. The world is changing, y'all. I'm in Dunkin' Donuts today, and I go to Dunkin' Donuts just about every morning to get coffee. And there were these three young men. They couldn't have been any more than 25 that came into the store. And I was at the register and I was ordering my coffee. And so this guy, I heard them talking behind me. And one of the guys that was talking behind me, he was like, oh, snap. He was like, look at his nails. And the other guy was like, he got to be real bold to have his nails painted like that. And the other guy said, well, what kind of guy is he? And the other guy said, oh, he's a pretty boy. And I'm listening to this conversation that they having about me, and I don't know if they knew if they probably didn't. They probably thought I didn't hear them. So one of the guys, he tapped me on the shoulder. He was like, "Excuse me." He said, "I like your nails," and I said, "Well, thank you." He said, "What made you get your nails done like that?" I said, "I'm just inspired. It's just something I was inspired to do." He said, it takes a lot of guts to walk around and have your nails done like that. He said, and your hair looks nice too. And I had my little hair, my little ponytail. And he was like, he carried on this whole conversation with me, he was asking me all these questions about myself. He said, do you consider yourself gay? And I said, well, no, I don't consider myself gay. I said, you know, most people would consider me androgynous. He said, androgynous. I said, well, what does that mean? And I said to him, I said, well, androgynous means just very eccentric. You know, I'm very, you know, fashion forward and very eccentric in the way I dress and the way I do things and so on and so forth. And I explained to him, and he was like, wow. He said, you're a very interesting person. And this dude was like, this kid was like a hood kid. He was like from the hood. This is the second time that something like this has happened to me. I had one man come to me and he's like, yo, man, he was like, let me tell you something. Bro, your nails look sexy as hell. I said, what? This was a straight guy, you know, that said this to me. And that's why I'm telling y'all this story to tell y'all that the world is changing. There used to be a time when a person like me couldn't walk around like this. I couldn't do this. I couldn't wear this, you know, but we're in a world now where it's not so much that we're accepted, it's just that we're the normal walk of life. And that's what we as gay men and women and people in the LGBTQ have been striving for, to be the normal walk in life, to not be looked at as a spectacle, to not be looked at as, you know, there was something wrong with us, or that we're going to hell. Life is changing for the better.
And I think if more people did what he did and ask questions when they don't know that they don't know the answers to,
right,
most people will give them the answers that mean, right, you know, because it wasn't in a malicious way. It wasn't in a I'm making fun of you way. It was in a way of, well, I want to know. Like, I'm standing here talking about it and confused, so let me just ask the person. And I can appreciate somebody like that. I can appreciate somebody who doesn't know but wants to know. Right. I can appreciate anybody like that.
And see, that's what I'm trying to say. You know, and I'm not trying to be shady or, you know, I'm not trying to say anything negative against the heterosexual world, but a lot of people in the heterosexual world are very ignorant when it comes to who we are. They don't know who we are. And what I'm saying to you people in the heterosexual world, if you want to know something about us, just ask. Just ask. You know, just be respectful when you ask. That's it. Just be respectful. Mm-hmm. You know, even, you know, I mean, I've had people respectfully come to me and Joseph and say, well, which one of y'all are the man and which one of y'all are the woman? And not been insulted by them saying that. Because some people come to you and be like, look, which one of y'all, who do this and who do that? And they're very disrespectful about it. But there's people that come to you, they ask you questions like that, and you know, you answer them because they're respectful about being. That's the key to everything in this world, is respect. Everybody on the planet deserves respect. So there's nothing wrong with your questions. The only thing that's wrong is when you don't do it in a respectful manner. So with that being said, guys, we're going to get on out of here. We thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. We hope that you would join us for the conversations in the future. Next week, I don't know what we're going to be discussing, but we're going to be discussing something interesting, right, guys?
Definitely.
So you guys make sure that you're following all of us on social media platforms. Of course, you know what those are. If you have not hit that like button, please make sure you hit the like button before you leave here today. And
if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and make sure you share us out.
Yes. And for those of you that watch the replay, make sure you hit the like button as well and subscribe. And if you want to become a knight at our round table or a lord or lady, please, by all means, hit that join button and join the McCraeKingz Kingdom. We are known as the TheMKingz now. There is a reason for that, which we really don't want to go into. But you can also refer to us as the McCraeKingz still. But we'd like to refer to ourselves as the TheMKingz. And stay tuned, because more great programming is coming your way. Just be patient with us. And I apologize that we could not premiere our premiere video on the first. Unfortunately, we had some technical issues and we weren't able to do that, but we were glad that we were able to do it the following day. We hope that you enjoyed that. Guys, watch out, look out for the new segment, which is Joseph. He's going to be telling his story of how we met. And he probably going to make us some lie.
Part 2 of how we met. The real version.
Embellishment. So y'all stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up sometime this week. And also we have a cooking segment that will be coming up this week. I think we're going to be making stuffed catfish.
Yeah.
That's going to be good. That's going to be real good. But thank you all for joining us. And we are definitely out of here. With that being said, guys, we're going to let you go. And you guys have a great Sunday. And we hope that you have a great Monday morning. And walk in love, peace, sunshine, and happiness. And always remember, it's TheMcRae.
All damn day. Later, y'all.
Bye-bye.